welcome to episode 10 of Sketchy Strangers. In this episode, I interview a real-life girl, a woman. No, but for reals, thanks to Hanna for being the first lady of Sketchy Strangers, the Michelle Obama, if you will. Yeah, I don't know Biden's wife's name. But anyways, great time, great conversation. So let's get to it.
I already burnt my tongue on my coffee, so
Are you a big
if I
coffee?
talk with a lisp, then...
Me too. Well, I kind of naturally do. But, yeah, are you a big coffee drinker?
I drink a lot of coffee, yeah. I like just caffeine in general, so I like coffee, and then I like Diet Red Bull. So I convince myself that it's healthier than regular Red Bull because it's no calories, so it's essentially water.
Pretty much, right? Yeah. Well, did you pick that up in college when you were at UCLA?
100%, yeah. I remember during finals week, because I didn't like coffee in high school at all. It tasted like bitter, it tasted like poison.
Yeah.
So then in college, I forced myself to drink coffee and like grew to like it. But then I was studying in the library for finals. And one day, like, these women showed up, like, you know, like good-looking girls showed up with, like, backpacks full of Red Bull. And the backpacks were shaped like a can of Red Bull.
Okay, I remember that.
Yeah, and they would hand out just a can of Red Bull. And it was literally, like, the drug dealer, like, the first one's free, like, sort of situation.
Pusher?
And, yeah, 'cause the first few were free, and now I've given Red Bull, like, so much money.
Yeah, my lady friend loves it. She works she's a nurse and she works works at Ross too, and she's like addicted to it pretty much. But,
Yeah.
I mean, I do love the Rush. That's kind of my preferred. I was never a big coffee guy. In high school, I drank coffee one day. I decided to go. You know, I was a senior. I was like, let me have some coffee. My fourth period, I was like, I gotta go to the bed.
This isn't good.
This isn't good. Yeah, this is a diuretic, man.
Yeah. No, I used to drink tea. And that was like enough caffeine for me. Yeah. And maybe in high school I just got enough sleep. I don't know. But nowadays, now it's like I think I've become physically dependent on it, where if I don't have caffeine, I'll get a bad headache.
Oh, me too, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like I have to have some every day.
Like, I used to get an eye twitch. And then during the pandemic, I didn't really have to drink as much. I was also not sleeping that much.
Yeah.
I was like waking up at 1 in the morning to go to work. And I would go to sleep like at, midnight, like.
Oh man.
Yeah, so then I would just drink more coffee.
Yeah.
So then I would start getting night switch. But then during the pandemic, work slowed down and I wasn't working, and then I was able to wean myself off of it. So I didn't drink coffee for like pretty much the whole pandemic. I didn't drink coffee.
Yeah.
And then I just got me back. It's just. So,
it's all right. Recovery isn't linear. There's ups and downs.
Yeah, one day at a time.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Okay, but yeah, you went UCLA. I heard you said you were a psychiatrist.
I'm a social worker.
Social worker? Oh.
But I do therapy, and so I work alongside like psychologists and psychiatrists.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, psychiatrists are like the meds. Psychologists and social workers both do like talk therapy.
Well, I didn't hear the last part.
Psychiatrists are for medication. Psychologists and social workers both do like talk therapy.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So then, social worker, are you like more with kids then?
No, actually, I work with adults.
Oh, really? Like domestic type stuff? Or?
I work with veterans.
Oh,
yeah.
That's interesting.
So mental health, veterans, a lot to do.
What got you? What happened to that?
Yeah, honestly, I got into social work like my senior year of college because I wanted to do therapy. I wanted to do like psychology, but I realized really fast that I didn't want to do like 10 more years of grad school. And I learned that with social work, you could do like a 2-year master's program and then start working. So I did that. I went to a master's program in San Bernardino, which was awesome. And then when I was graduating, you do an internship like each year of school where you actually like work kind of. So they call it field work. Yeah. And I did that at a veterans hospital. And luckily they hired me right out of school. And as far as social work goes, it's like a good paying role, like good benefits.
Yeah.
And I like working with the veterans too, but like I didn't, get into social work like for the veterans.
Yeah, that wasn't what called you.
Yeah, I've just kind of fallen into that.
Yeah.
But I really like working with them.
Oh,
so.
Man. So then you went to school for 6 years?
Yeah, 4 years of college, then a gap year, and then 2 years of grad school.
What was that gap year about? Was it just wanted a break?
Yeah, I needed a break. I needed to take like the GRE and stuff, which is like a test for grad school. It turns out I didn't even need to take it. Like I only applied to one grad school.
Yeah.
But I also substitute taught that year just to like save up some money because I knew I wasn't really going to work during grad school.
Yeah.
So that was that year.
Oh, okay. So UCLA, dude, what was the culture like there?
The culture was really cool. Like, I always compare it to like Berkeley to Cal because I got into both, and so they're both like really, really good schools. But when I visited the campuses, like UCLA, it's in LA, it's a beautiful campus. Everyone seemed just like very like lively and like happy, and like they're students, so they're stressed, but everyone just seemed like excited to be there.
Yeah.
And then I went to Cal to visit, and everyone just looked like sad. It was gray and rainy. I got yelled at by like a homeless man. There was a drum circle where like everyone was drumming at their own beat. None of them were together. Like it was just very stereotypical. But yeah, no, at UCLA it was like in high school I was, you know, like not to brag, but I was one of the smartest people in the school.
Really? Were you like in the top? Were you like, not valedictorian, but like in the top? Okay.
Yeah, so I was, there's like 700 in our class, and I was like 7th.
Oh, damn, dude.
Yeah. And so I got a B plus my freshman year, so that kept me from that top 6.
Oh, okay. Still.
But at UCLA, like, so in high school, like, yeah, I was like one of the smartest kids, but at UCLA, every student was the smartest kid at their high school.
Yeah.
And so you kind of were forced to like develop a personality that wasn't just like studying.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I learned, I'm like, oh, okay, like I'm actually not super smart. Like I am totally average here.
My grades don't define me here, really.
Exactly. Yeah. It became like I worked hard, but I wasn't really concerned like about getting straight A's. It was just about like passing my classes.
Yeah.
And just kind of following through and doing what I needed to do, but also like having fun. Everyone there was really healthy and really into like fitness and sports.
Oh, okay.
And I never really was because I've always been like really like clumsy and just bad at stuff.
Oh, me too, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. And the worst thing is I'm tall, so I'm like 5'9". So people and like PE coaches would always assume that I was going to be good at sports, or like, oh, you should do like basketball or volleyball. Yeah. And then I'd start playing and you just see like their faces drop because it was so bad.
I remember I stopped being good at sports when I was 12 because everyone reached their height, but you know what I mean? Everyone got their spurt, and I was still like,
oh no.
Yeah, I was still like a little kid. So
yeah.
I remember I was always like the fastest kid in my class.
Yeah.
And then that all of a sudden I was like, oh, now I'm like not even in the top 10 anymore.
Oh no. Yeah. Dude, I feel like for a while in like elementary and middle school, it's always like those like tiny kids were always super fast.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but then you know once they get the legs, once they got legs, you're like, all right, like. So in high school, you were saying that you were like super, like all about school, right?
Yeah, no school. It was all like AP classes, and then I did speech and debate, and I was speech and debate like captain.
Okay.
So that was my sport. That was like, and we just talked.
Yeah.
That's the talking sport.
Is that what got you into like comedy and stand-up?
It's not what got me into it, but I honestly think it helped me a lot. Because I've always liked comedy. Like I grew up, you know, listening to stand-up or watching stand-up specials. My dad always really liked comedy. And so speech and debate, you just really learn how to like talk in front of people in a way that's like listenable. So you're not just like awing and umming the whole time. Yeah. And it really takes away that fear of talking in front of people. And it teaches you how to like improvise and think of things on the spot. And so when I did start doing comedy, like it was actually kind of surprising where I'm like, oh shit, like speech and debate really got me ready for this.
What was your first experience with it? Like how
with comedy or speech and debate?
With comedy.
So like as far as starting stand-up or listening?
Yeah. Starting it. Like,
Gotcha. So last year in like the summer, like August, September, I was kind of feeling depressed and like really not enjoying work and just feeling pretty low and really like just like stagnant, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I was on Instagram and a podcast I liked was advertising that they were going to do a live show at this theater in LA called Pack Theater. Oh, the podcast is Last Podcast on the Left.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it was like one of their side shows was going to do a show at Pack Theater in LA. So I went on Pack Theater's Instagram and they were advertising classes they did. And one of the ones they did was a stand-up class that would meet for like 6 Saturdays, 3 hours each Saturday.
Yeah.
And like I just needed something to do, and I'm like,
A hobby.
yeah, exactly. And I'm like, oh, like I've always been interested in stand-up, and so I'm like, why don't I just take this class? And I don't know why, but I had it in my head that like if you don't start doing stand-up when you're 18, like
You're not gonna be.
yeah, you can't do it. You
Yeah.
have to decide like you're, you know, in Hogwarts or something. Like you have to choose your path. Yeah. And so I feel like in that class, like we were made to go to open mics. Like our homework was to like go do open mics and perform. And I feel like that spoke to the part of my brain that like works well in school, where I'll do the assignment. Yeah.
It seems like your first experience was through schooling.
Yeah, exactly. And so so I did that class, and that got me going to like the W was my first open mic that I went to and watched the first week, and then the week after that, or maybe the week after that, I went and did my first open mic there, and that would have been in like October, I think.
Of last year.
Okay,
so then I was probably there then.
Yeah, probably.
Nice, dude. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay, so like you said you're not a big you like to drink pretty much. That's the only thing you really like to do?
Yeah.
So in college?
Yeah, definitely.
High school. Must have been in high school. You weren't much.
Yeah, no, high school. My high school was very like full of stoners. Like everyone smoked weed in high school. I didn't.
California?
Yeah, it is. It's Southern California, and there's nothing else to do in Yucaipa. But no, I was very good in high school, and then I went to college, and I remember my first like time like drinking. I mean, I tasted alcohol. Like my family drinks a lot. Yeah. And like,
are you Irish?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
They're Irish American. Family drinks a lot, but I was raised around it, so I was never like. I couldn't rebel by drinking. Like, no one in my family would have cared.
Well, same with me, dude. Mexicans, we're like, Irish and Mexicans are very similar, dude. Like, St. Patrick's Day, Cinco de Mayo, it's pretty much...
Same holiday.
Yeah, same holiday, different heads.
Exactly. Yeah. And I celebrate both because I'll celebrate any holiday where the purpose is just, like, drinking and eating and, like, celebrating. But no, I went to college, and I remember the first night where I'm like, all right, I'm really going to do this. It was
like a conscious decision, like, hey,
I'm going to try drinking. I'm going to see how this goes. And it was with like some dorm people, and we had a warm handle of vodka. It was called Prestige, and it was not Prestige vodka. It was not good, but it was in a warm plastic handle.
Oh, it's like a plastic bottle.
Plastic bottle, and we chased it with blue Powerade.
Oh, okay.
And had a good time. And I learned real quick that I could take shots and not make a face, which was very impressive to people.
You're like, whoa.
Yeah, and I tried weed in college for sure. Like I smoked weed. It was fine. But now with my job, I'm technically not allowed to. They could drug test us. Yeah. And I've had like edibles since then. And like last time I took edibles, I felt so bad. I felt so awful.
I used to smoke weed every day. Like I was a pretty much everyday smoker. Mm-hmm. And I don't mess with edibles. Dude. They're just... To me, it's like people that don't really smoke often take edibles. And I'm like, dude, you're going from 0 to like 100.
That makes sense, because all my positive weed experiences have been smoking. Yeah. The only thing I've done recently is edibles. Because I love the idea of it. I love like, you don't have to smoke. Like, you don't, mess up your lungs or whatever. Yeah. And like, they taste good now too. Like, they make fine tasting edibles. But I like took a gummy and I ended up Googling what did I Google? It was like, eyes feel too high, ? Because my eyes felt too high. Like, not too high on my, like, I don't even know. It was a high search, so it's hard to explain when you're not high. But my eyes were, like, feeling pressured and, like, kind of itchy, and, like, they felt high. And I was afraid they were too high.
You're like, is this normal?
Yeah, I'm like, are my eyes going to just explode right now? Yeah. Which is not what I'm looking for when I'm doing substances, is not to feel worse.
Yeah, you don't want to... I mean, some of them, like, mushrooms are like, it's like in spring cleaning, Like, I recommend them for everybody. Yeah. Yeah, my parents, I say my parents, the first time I did it, the thing I kept thinking was, like, everybody should try this. My mom, my dad, like, this is such a good drug. But, like, it does get too real sometimes. It's just like, this is my life.
Yeah. No, I would try shrooms. my brother, I have a brother who's 2 years younger than me, and he's like someone who wants to just try everything.
Yeah.
And so for me, like, you know, I told you I smoked weed in college. I didn't tell my dad that I smoked weed in college until like last year.
Oh,
like
really?
for some reason I thought I had to be real secretive about it. Where my brother went to college in Santa Barbara, and he'd come home and he'd be like, I did mushrooms, you guys should both do mushrooms. He'd come home and be like, I did coke at a party just once, I didn't like it. One time he said he did meth at a party on accident.
Oh, okay.
But he would just come home and just say this straight up, and I'm sitting there like not ready to tell anyone that I smoked weed.
But he sounds kind of similar to me. Like I'm pretty much. I don't tell my parents that I do. My sisters, I'll be like, oh, you guys should try it.
Yeah.
But so he's a smart kid then too, right?
Oh, he's super smart. He's actually a lawyer now, so I won't say his name since I just said he did all these drugs, but
Yeah.
he doesn't do them anymore. For any employers listening to this, he's a very smart boy.
Is he your only sibling?
Yeah, yep, he's the only one.
Oh, so okay. So then you're the oldest.
Yep, yeah, oldest sister. He's super cool.
How was that when you had he's 2 years younger, so you don't even probably remember even kind of your mom being pregnant with him or anything?
Yeah,
He was in your life?
I don't remember life before him.
Yeah.
The golden years.
I mean, so how was your guys' relationship growing up? Were you guys always really close or cool? Or
We honestly like fought like cats and dogs like most of my childhood. I don't know what it was like for you, but for me, like,
I mean, around puberty we started fighting more. We were just kind of like.
see, we chilled out at puberty.
Oh, okay.
We fought my whole childhood. We would fight physically. We'd scream at each other. We'd throw shit at each other.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and we'd fight over the stupidest shit. And then once I like hit high school and he hit middle school, like we just kind of chilled out. We'd still fight occasionally, and we still do a little bit. But like once he hit high school, for sure, we were like just really good friends. I'd drive him to school and everything. We chat a lot. And
you guys had similar friend groups too, like.
Yeah, we actually like. There was obviously this degree of separation, so we're 2 grades apart. But like a lot of he was in a band in high school. He was actually way cool. So like he was as cool in high school as I was not cool in high school.
Okay.
So people would be like, they'd know him before they knew me, and a lot of people thought he was my older brother.
Oh, okay. That's how me and my sister were actually, because she's a year younger than me.
Yeah.
And my sister in middle school was voted like the best looking girl in her class. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
she had she was popular. She was actually good at school, and they knew I was her older brother, but still they were like, oh, you guys are so. And I'm pretty shy, you know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like and all my friends are nerds too, so like,
Yeah.
I'd be hanging out with the nerds, and she'd be like, oh, all her friends are like hot girls.
Yeah.
You know, like.
No, totally. It's like my brother had a girlfriend from like 8th grade onward. It wasn't just one girl, like he had multiple girlfriends, but he always had a girl.
Yeah.
And I did not date in high school at all. I think finally senior year I went on like 1 date or 2 dates. But it was very much the opposite. He was in student council. He was like student council president.
Oh, okay.
But he was always like, he was popular, but he was always like just a like good kid. So he wasn't a good kid. Like he wasn't a dick to everyone or anything, you know?
Yeah, he was like the guy you actually, like popular guy you actually liked.
Yeah, like he deserved to be popular. I raised him right as the older sister.
Okay, you take credit for it?
I do. I take a lot of the credit.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so then, do you remember, was there any memorable fight that you can remember? Because we used to fight over, a rule in our house was whoever turned on the TV gets to control it. So we would rush home and we would like, whoever, like if we were on the car, we would all run. And my little sister, my youngest sister, she's 5 years younger than me.
Uh-huh.
My other sister's a year apart, so it was pretty much me and her
Yeah.
fighting for it, because my little sister would never.
Totally out of the game.
Yeah, she was just like, hopefully Maria gets it because she likes similar stuff to me.
Yeah.
But it was.
We definitely fought over the remote a lot.
Yeah.
We fought, I think the stupidest thing we'd fight about was if we were in a hotel or something, who got to press the buttons in the elevator. That would turn into shoving matches.
Yeah.
But one fight that I really remember, and I don't remember what the fight was actually about, but it was one of our like last big fights when I was in high school, and we were just yelling at each other, like screaming, and I, again, do not remember about what. It was probably stupid. But he called me a bitch. And I remember just like stopping for a minute and then just like looking at him like dead in the eye and being like, you do not call me a bitch, like ever. You can call me an asshole, you can call me a dick, but like you will not call me a bitch.
Yeah.
And I think I scared him a little bit because he never called me a bitch again. So
It got too real for him?
yeah, it did. And I think he saw murder in my eyes.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, that's the line.
Yeah, it's like, found that line, not gonna cross it.
Is he married now? Is he in a relationship? Or?
No, he's actually, ladies, he's single.
Okay.
He'd been in a pretty serious relationship for like 5 years,
Oh.
but they broke up last year.
Oh, dang, okay. That sucks.
Yeah, I know, it sucked, but
Did you like the girl?
I liked her a lot. Yeah,
Really?
she was really cool. And I mean, there's no hard feelings. Like, the relationship ran its course. And
Yeah. It happens.
and I honestly now it's just like, I hope I like the girl he ends up with, because
one?
I really liked this girl.
Yeah.
And it's like, she's going to be part of the family. And
Yeah, she was there at holidays and stuff.
yeah. Oh yeah, she's in a lot of pictures. It's like, kind of sucks for him.
Oh, man. And for the next girl, too, I'm imagining.
Yeah. She has a lot to live up to.
Yeah.
So you have 2 sisters?
Yeah, 2 sisters.
Okay.
Yeah, they're both. One of them has a kid. She's
Mm-hmm.
she's with a dude who's got other kids too. So like, our family kind of grew suddenly. Like,
Yeah.
now we have like 3 kids. In
Yeah.
the family. But yeah, they're good people. My other sister, she's been with her boyfriend now for like 4 years. They live together. Which is,
Yeah.
they're good.
Do you get along with like your sisters, or have you gotten along with your sisters' boyfriends?
Yeah.
So you're not like that weird, overprotective older brother too much?
No, I've never had to protect. Like Maria, my sister Maria, she's like 1 year younger than me. She's a man eater. So she's
Okay,
like,
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm more worried about the.
You're like,
guys.
go get him.
Yeah. Like all my friends in high school had a crush on her, so they would, like every now and then they would be like, "Hey man, I gotta talk to you." I gotta
Oh
serious talk."
man,
And I'd be
yeah.
like, "Okay, good luck, man." Cause like she always she's like a serial monogamous. Like she always has to have a boyfriend.
Yeah.
So like she always had a boyfriend. I'm like, dude, she has a boyfriend. Like, good luck. You're gonna get your heart broken. I'm telling you now. And like it would always work out that way. But like it would end up getting her hearts broken. And like my younger sister Hanna, she's like super nerdy. So like me and her get along on that too.
Yeah.
We're just kind of like we talk about Hamilton. Or we talk about like,
Oh yeah,
nerdy stuff like that, and like TV shows. And like, but when we were younger, I was like real dick to that. Like,
Yeah.
especially to my youngest sister. Like I better believe she was a robot one time. Yeah, she started crying. Yeah, that was just like a typical older brother where I would bully her a lot.
Yeah.
But
That's what you have to do though.
oh yeah. But now now where she's like you said, like once we got into high school, we started. Once the age difference wasn't that big of a.
Yeah, once you're kind of in the same, because it's like there's a big difference between like 13 and 8.
Yeah. Yeah, but once when she was in her 20s, we're like, okay, we can hang out.
Yeah, we're both like adults now. No, me and my brother actually, we had like a good talk a couple of years ago where we were talking about how much we fought when we were kids.
Yeah.
And I was like realizing when I was a kid, I used to correct my brother a lot because in my head, I'm like if he said something wrong, I would let him know that he was wrong immediately.
Okay, you were like a know-it-all.
Yeah, I was a total know-it-all. And in my head as a kid, I'm like, he wants to be right. If he's wrong, he would want me to correct him so he's right.
Yeah.
And that's not how people work at all. But as a kid, I'm like, and so as adults, we were talking and I'm like, damn, I was like really condescending to you when I was a kid. Like, sorry about that.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, I was really annoying to you when I was a kid. So we both kind of we're like, yeah, we were both little assholes in our own way. So
Yeah. Oh man, me and my sister, I haven't apologized to them. I probably should.
it's good. It's good to have a little we were assholes.
Yeah.
And then you can move on and be like assholes in a new way.
Oh yeah, I mean we're still that's how we show love in our family, by roasting each other.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, everything is like either too fat or too skinny.
Yeah.
Like over COVID, I put on a lot of weight, and then over the last year, I've lost most of it. I got back
Nice.
to my
Good for you.
Yeah, I mean, I put on like 20 pounds, 30 pounds. Typical, and also aging,
Yeah,
But
definitely.
in the last year, I got back to like 160, and like my sister saw me. They're like, dude, you gotta eat more. You gotta buy smaller clothes. Your clothes
You
are
can't
too
win.
big. Yeah, like I can't win.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they weren't making fun of me, I wouldn't. I don't know how I would.
Oh yeah, no, that's in talking about comedy, my brother and my dad are just so naturally funny.
Oh really?
I feel like it was growing up in a comedy boot camp where and that's my brother and my dad for sure. And then also my cousins, people in my family are just funny. And so I grew up with everyone joking and you kind of have to be funny in a way, and you just I don't know.
Yeah. You got that comeback.
Exactly, yeah. And I'm the one doing stand up, but they're the ones who are making me laugh,
Yeah. Yeah, my sister, my younger sister, she was in a theater major. She was
Nice.
so she's a performer. So
Yeah.
and they don't even really know that I do stand-up comedy. So it's
Oh, that's funny. So has your family not seen you do stand-up at all?
No, they don't even know that I do it, dude. I don't think they know.
That's maybe, Batman or Superman or something, like your secret identity.
Like even in high school, I used to like sneak out and do graffiti and do stuff like that.
Now you're doing verbal graffiti. Now you're doing verbal graffiti.
Oh, I know, but yeah, but I didn't tell them about it. Like until maybe when I get drunk, that's usually when I let out all my secrets.
Yeah. Oh, for sure,
Like, hey guys, this is. But that's like you said. This is one of your New Year's resolutions was to be on a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like for me, it was try to be more vulnerable, dude. Because like I'm pretty, even with my people that I love, I'm pretty guarded.
Oh yeah, no, same.
Like, so what, any other New Year's resolutions for you?
I made all my resolutions about comedy. Like, I should have made resolutions for my health or for like my real job, but instead I'm like, nah, I want them to be comedy. And so my resolutions were to go on a podcast, which I'm doing right now. So thank you. And then going to performing on a show in Beaumont. It's a sports bar show in Beaumont at a place called the Sand Trap.
Oh, you're talking about that.
Yeah, and it's put on. My dad's like best friend from high school is a working comedian, and he puts on the show. And he asked me to be on the show, do 5 minutes in January, and I thought I wouldn't get to do that till later in the year. So that was really cool. And like my dad was like, I did not ask him to do this. I did not tell him to do this.
Yeah.
Like he just like has faith and watched your clips and liked it and then so those two are done, but my other one is more of a like consistent like resolution where I'm trying to do at least 2 open mics a week.
Yeah.
And that's been hit or miss, honestly.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's. I try to go to as many as I can. Like,
Yeah.
I have there's one and I have the day off.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to.
Yeah. Well, I'm changing my work schedule for a couple of reasons, but one of the reasons is right now I work from 7:30 to 6, 4 days a week. And so there's a lot of mics that like I work too late to go to.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna change my schedule to work 5 days a week and get off at 4, because then I'll have so much more time in the afternoon and I'll be able to like hit more mics and just do more stuff. Yeah, so that one is kind of like I can't really achieve that resolution. It's just I need to keep on doing it throughout the year.
Yeah, at least not now. At least, yeah. But, okay, those are good ones. But nothing for yourself, nothing for like. Because I mean, like you probably understand the human psyche a little bit better than most.
Yeah. No, it's funny. Like being a therapist, like. It's kind of like I've always heard that doctors are the worst patients, and doctors like then they themselves won't go to the doctor. I think it's very similar for therapists, where we know what to do.
Yeah.
We know the best ways to take care of yourself, like mentally, emotionally.
Yeah.
And a lot of us don't do them. Like I know I should exercise more. I know exercise makes you feel better in like every way. I know I should have a more regular sleep schedule.
Yeah.
So there are things that I could have made resolutions for, but honestly, I feel like, I don't know, everyone does the exercise more resolution and it never really sticks. So it's like, why bother? You can decide to do that at any point in the year.
So, yeah, it shouldn't be a resolution. It should just be something, honestly, for me, what helps is just packing my gym bag and then just getting there. Once I get there, I'm like, okay, I'm here.
Yeah.
What else am I going to do?
Yeah, so you exercise like in the morning.
I usually go out, depends on the day actually, but just whenever I have time. I just pack my gym bag, put it in my car, and then I'm like, okay, it's here.
That's smart, yeah. That's the other thing, like once I start getting off work earlier, I'll have more time to like maybe exercise.
Yeah.
Because when you get off at 6, and especially in the winter, it's already dark, you feel like you can't do anything.
Right, yeah.
And like I have a dog at home named Bandit, who I love.
Shout out to Bandit.
And I feel the like single mom guilt where I'm like, I can't leave her at home alone all day. Like I come home from work and then I'm going to leave her again. Like.
Yeah, you live by yourself? You don't got somebody living with you?
Yeah, no, I live by myself.
How is that? Does it get lonely or you?
Honestly, it used to be really lonely. Like this was my first time living by myself. So I moved into the apartment in 2019 in October. And so then just a couple months after I moved in, the pandemic hit, and then I was like really alone. And so when they're like, oh, stay in your apartment, like only communicate with the people in your apartment, I'm like, I literally have no one. And at that point, I didn't even have a dog. So I was just like alone. Because of my job, I only worked from home 1 month. because I was part of like an emergency team.
Oh, okay.
So I only worked from home in January 2021. But I think I went a little bit crazy in that month, like, because I just didn't have anyone to talk to. Like, my clients that I saw for therapy were the only people I talked to during the day.
So you were just dealing with other people's emotions?
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah.
Not getting any of yours listened to or heard? Or?
So once I got a dog, I got Bandit in 2021 in August.
Yeah.
Like, that's made all the difference, honestly.
Oh, really?
Because, like, I don't know, it sounds like ridiculous, but anyone who has a dog or a cat knows, like, you can kind of talk to them. Like, so it's never totally quiet in your apartment, and you come home and you have this little thing that, like, loves you, coming up to see you, all excited to see you.
Yeah.
And it also gives you responsibility where, like, I cannot stay in bed all day. Like, if I want to be a depressed piece of shit and stay in bed all day, like, I used to be able to do that. Now there's this dog, like, standing on my chest, staring at me, being like, get up, like, come feed me, take me on a walk.
What kind of dog is Bandit?
Honestly, it's a mystery. I got her from the Riverside shelter.
Okay.
They said she's part some kind of spaniel, and she does kind of like a Cocker Spaniel, has those pretty ears.
Cocker Spaniel.
I'll show you a picture of her. I know this is a podcast, so this doesn't help anyone else, but doing a visual medium while doing a podcast.
I should start trying to put their links on.
You could just show a bunch of people just cute pictures of my dog.
Oh, that's adorable. I can see
Right?
the color bandit too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She has a little bandit mask.
Yeah, like diamond eyes.
Yeah. So yeah, I love her. She's crazy.
She's cute.
Yeah. So I tell everyone, I mean, like, I got this sick ass dog from the shelter for like $90.
Right,
like they spayed her. And yeah, she's a rescue. And she's just like, people always think she's some kind of designer breed, and I'm like, nah, like, she was on the streets, so.
Was she full grown when you got her, or was she?
Yeah.
Okay.
They said she was like 2, which I think they always say, so you don't think that dog's too old.
Oh, okay.
But honestly, I do think she was like 2 when I got her, because she is pretty young. She acts like a teenager now.
Oh, okay.
So.
What drew you to her? Would you like, this is the one? Just like the way she looks, or she just?
Yeah. So. All of the shelters and stuff now, most of them have their dogs online.
Oh, yeah.
Especially, like, this was 2021, so it was still, like, big pandemic hours where you couldn't just drop in, really.
Yeah. Well,
to, like, look at the dogs.
Whenever I get sad, I go on there and I just look at dogs and name them.
Yes. I love looking at the dogs. But so I knew I wanted a dog, so I'm going through all the local shelters.
Yeah.
And yeah, I went on the Riverside website, and there were a few dogs that looked cute. And then I saw this dog with her, she has, these ridiculous, like, black circles around her eye. And in the picture, she just, like, had this, like, blank stare, like, and she just looked ridiculous. And I thought it was so funny. And I'm like, this is such a weird dog. And so I decided, I took off work the next day so I could go to the shelter and, like, meet the dogs. I walked around looking for the dogs that I saw online, and all I saw, it was all German Shepherds. And I'm like, where are the dogs that are online? So I had to go to the desk and be like, hey, like, where's this dog? And it was like I went to a bar and was like, show me the good stuff. Like, get me the stuff that's under the counter. Because they took me to another building that had dogs that, like, if they're brought in, they have to stay there for 7 days to make sure they don't belong to anyone. Like, you don't just give away somebody's dog.
Oh, I see.
So it's like the new dog building. And that's where she was. And I got to take her out and meet her. And we just both agreed, like, let's hang out.
Yeah.
And then I actually had to leave her there for another week when they spayed her.
Yeah.
So I felt really bad because I showed up, was like, I'm going to adopt you, and then just left her there, like, for another week, and I felt so bad.
Did you have dogs growing up?
Yeah, we always had dogs, always had cats.
So how do you compare her personality to some of your other pets?
She's a sweetie, I think, compared to a lot of our other dogs. Like, whenever you get a dog from a rescue or from a shelter, you're, like, getting a bunch of problems that they have.
Yeah.
And a lot of, like, personality quirks just based on, like, what happened to them. So, like, my dad has a dog named Olive, who I love, but she hates men. And she was taken from, like, a meth house in Desert Hot Springs.
Oh, okay.
So, like, she probably did not have a great time growing up.
Yeah.
And Bandit, I don't really know anything about other than they took her off the street. She was a stray. But she's just so sweet, and, like, she's nice to everyone.
Yeah.
She's a little bit overprotective of our apartment. So now if anyone comes in, she has to bark at them for a while.
That's her job, though.
Yeah, and I appreciate that as a single lady, like living alone. She's my guard dog. But yeah, so she's just real sweet, just a goofy dog. Like,
yeah, it is a very pretty dog. I was like, yeah, this is just a well-designed dog.
Right? And I tell her, though, I'm like, you're a master of physical comedy. Like, she could be a clown. She rolls around and, like, will fall off the couch. Or, like, when she's playing, she's tackling stuff. Like,
she's like a Charlie Chaplin?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, I should take you on stage with me. Like...
Yeah, I mean, dogs don't work the same with dudes. I mean, because a lot of times guys like use dogs to get girls, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think it works the same with guys. Like, guys will come, will pet your dog.
You know, you'd be surprised. Like, I was on a dating app. It was like Hinge, and there were a lot of people who would match with me. A lot of guys who would match with me and just like talk about my dog. And there was one guy who matched with me, and we like said like hi, and then he's like, I want to be your dog's stepdad. And I just unmatched with him. It gave me the ick so bad where I'm like, it just sounds like you want to molest my dog. Like, you want to be my dog's stepdad? Like, get out of here. So apparently it brings in the guys too, but like, in a way, I don't want her to. I don't know.
No, you don't want to use her as bait like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel bad because my nephew's adorable and like he's such a cutie. I can't use it.
Yeah.
I can't exploit him. Like,
oh, you totally could though. There's so many guys on dating apps who they'll post a picture of the kid, and they always have to put like the warning, like, not my kid, like that baby is my nephew. But I appreciate that because that is always my question, where it's like, is that their son? Which like, good for them for being a good father, but like, I'm not ready to become like an instant mother right now. So
how are the dating apps?
They're going good. I jumped back on them in the start of this year, so I guess that was a little resolution, was I wanted to date again.
Oh, okay. Has it been a while since you were in a relationship? Or like...
I got out of like an 8-month relationship last September.
Yeah.
And like, it was kind of like a mutual thing, but I think I was kind of the problem causer there.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I just, we broke up because one morning we woke up and he was like, hey, you've been really hot and cold, you've been kind of emotionally distant. Yeah. And I was just like, for sure, yeah, I have been. And he's like, well, I need more. And I'm like, I don't know if I can give you more right now. And so we broke up.
Oh, okay.
And so for the first time ever in history, it was the female in the relationship who like wasn't emotionally giving enough.
I mean, I don't know. I think that's becoming more common now.
Yeah,
like,
possibly.
We have the girls seem we have a lot of arguments. Like, where did this role switch? You know, I feel like I'm dating myself. You know?
Yeah. No. So anyway, we broke up because I was an asshole, and then so I just took a couple months off because I'm like, I do not want to jump into something like. One, I was really enjoying just like independence and not to like go out and like go wild. Like I was doing comedy, like that was how I was going wild.
You don't want to consider anybody else for it.
Exactly, yeah. And this was a dude who lives like in Huntington Beach, and so I'd have to drive an hour and a half to go see him.
Oh, okay.
And like, if you really, really like someone, it's worth it.
Yeah.
But if you're feeling ambivalent, like you start to get really resentful about like all your time is being taken up doing this.
Yeah.
And that's like when you realize like, oh shoot, I probably shouldn't be in this relationship if I'm like mad that I have to go see them.
We're just wasting each other's time now.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like okay talking about it 'cause from what I've heard, he is with a really lovely girl now, and they're doing really good.
Yeah.
Which like I'm glad because he was a nice dude. Like again, I was the asshole. And so I'm glad that he's like doing well.
How did you meet this guy? In college?
No, he's my best friend's fiance's friend.
Okay.
Yeah, so my best friend has a fiance. He's from Huntington Beach, and so just he has this whole group of Huntington Beach friends that my best friend was like, wait, like Hanna might like one of these guys.
Yeah.
And so she purposefully talked us up to each other and like set us up, which worked really well until it didn't.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you were pretty mature about it. You know what I mean? Like you weren't like.
Yeah, no, definitely. There wasn't like a screaming fight or anything, and like he probably like shit talked me a little bit to his friends, but I think that's healthy after a breakup. Like when you get broken up with, you kind of need to do that. But no, it was honestly, I like always say, it was a good relationship.
Yeah.
It was a healthy relationship. It just wasn't right.
Yeah.
So
you or him, it was us.
Yeah, exactly. It just like wasn't really working out. So I took a break, but I'm like, I really do need to start dating again because like I do like eventually want to like get married and like have a family and like I'm 28 and I want to have kids, and when you're a woman, you're kind of like on the clock. Like you can't just keep pumping out babies till you're 90 like men can.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
No, it's 100% true.
I'm just saying, yeah, we can.
Yeah, no, you can like, I'm pretty sure Hugh Hefner, whoever, was having kids like in his 70s. Like, it's real freaky. But yeah.
The dating app, have you gotten on any dates through the app?
Yeah, I'm dating a guy right now. We've been on a few dates. I'm so monogamous that I can't multitask on dating apps.
Oh, me too.
If I go on dates with someone on a dating app, like, I'm just dating that person.
Me too, dude.
Yeah, like I can't juggle more than one person.
Yeah.
So I'm dating a dude who I actually went to high school with.
Oh, okay.
And I hadn't seen him in like 10 years.
And you found him on the dating app?
He found me on the dating app and was like, hey, like, remember me? And I was like, oh shit, yeah, I do. And he'd also, I knew, like, we were friends in high school, that went to different colleges.
But he was a smart guy too then?
He was super smart. He was, I told you I was like 7th in my class.
Yeah.
He was in one of those top 6. He wasn't number 1, but like, he's very smart.
What's he doing now?
He's a history teacher.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, in an alternative school. So like all the kids get expelled from the regular high school.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And he loves it, which is really cool. And that's something I like about him is like, he's super smart, but he's also like, he talks about his class and you can tell like he cares and he's like,
he's a loving guy.
Yeah. So far things are going well.
Yeah, I know what you mean about being monogamous. Like, I tried dating 2 girls once, and I was like, we're just kind of not even dating, but just kind of like talking to 2 girls.
Yeah,
there's like, so much energy.
Yeah, and I know there's like nothing wrong with it. Like, you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to date around.
Yeah.
But like, I can barely. Again, this guy who I'm going on dates with, I like him, and he texted me yesterday, and I have not texted him back because I keep on getting distracted. So if there's 2 people I need to text back, like, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I texted back.
I know. I'll text him back after this.
Because I'm the same way. Like I'm pretty guarded. So a lot of the time I'd be like, you'd have to text me, but if you don't text me, I won't text you. Like, I'm someone who doesn't want to text back and forth all the time. But like, it is nice to stay in touch with someone. But I will read a message and fully intend to respond. And then forget. Yeah. And then it's like, I guess that should be a resolution, is to become better at communication. One of my best friends says that I'm easier to reach by like smoke signals or like messenger pigeon or something. Yeah, same here, dude. Probably have the same, I don't know. You probably have very similar.
Like personality types.
Yeah, personality types.
Yeah.
It's not until recently where I decided, it's a conscious decision to be like, okay, I gotta change some of my habits.
Yeah. No, that's something that I'm working on. And again, not a resolution because it's like an ongoing process. But in psychology, there is a theory called the attachment theory. Okay. And it's basically says, and this is way oversimplifying it, but whatever, that the way you interact and the way your relationship is with your parents when you're very, very young will affect the way that you interact in your adult relationships.
Okay.
And so if you have so there's 2 types, there's secure and insecure attachments. If your relationship with your parents was healthy when you were very young, they provided for you, you felt safe, then most likely as an adult, you're going to be able to form secure attachments, healthy relationships.
Yeah.
If there were issues going on, and it can be a variety of issues when you're younger, so like an emotionally distant parent, an abusive parent, even like a mentally ill parent, you can form different kinds of insecure attachment. And so the main ones for that are anxious attachment, which is like that partner who's always texting, like, do you still like me? Are you still there? Like, are you sure you like me? Like, please text back.
Okay, I've been in those relationships.
Yeah. And then there's disorganized attachment, which is somebody who kind of is push and pull. So they'll be like, very like, do you still like me? Are you still there? but then they might also just push you away, very like emotionally volatile. And then the pattern that I unfortunately fall into is what's called avoidant. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's where you're just kind of like fiercely independent to an unhealthy degree, where you don't get attached as easily, and like where you'll enter a relationship, and that's the thing with insecure attachments, you still want a healthy relationship, you still like have the same needs as anyone else, but because of just things in your past, like with avoidance, it's like if things start going well, you feel like you have to get out of there, because you feel like you're going to get trapped or controlled. So you kind of leave, and this is often like very like subconscious, like you're not making that decision on purpose. But that's been a pattern for me that I'm trying to work on.
Same here. Same here. Dude. Like I don't know what caused it. Maybe because like my dad left when I was born in Mexico, and he came to America to work. So he left when I was like 1 year old. You know? So like maybe that, I don't know what it is.
No.
Maybe, I don't know.
It could be anything. Right? It could be anything.
Is your mom still in your life?
Yeah, my mom. She we never had a good relationship really when I was growing up. Her and my dad were married, but they got separated briefly when I was in like first grade. Got back together, and then they got divorced again my senior year of high school. But straight up, it was like me and my dad went to go see a college in New York. We took like a cool trip to New York City for like 4 days, like a long weekend. And we came back and my mom was gone. Like she took all her shit and she left. And so I was very angry after that, and that was very rough. But since then, it's been like over 10 years, and now that we don't like live together, like, and there's been a lot of time, we actually get along really well. She lives in Oregon now. I think it's like now that I don't need her to be like my mother that I depend on. It's like I can love her for like how she is. And we have like a good relationship. It's not as close as me and my dad, obviously, because it's like throughout our life, like my dad was really the parent that was there for me and my brother. He would cook, he worked all the time, but he'd go to all of our stuff. Like he went to all of my debate tournaments. He was just like the most present parent.
He sounds like a good dude, man.
He's a really, really solid dude.
Did he ever remarry or did?
No, he's dated, but yeah, so again, ladies, he's single. He's dated a little bit, but I think, and this is harsh, but I think the marriage with my mom kind of made him be like, all right, I don't need to get married again. Like, been there, done that. Was not a good time.
Did you ever like any other ladies you were dating? Were you like, oh, this one's cool, Dad?
I only ever really met one, but I liked her. She was cool. She was actually the parent of a kid who I used to do debate with from another school. So like she was from Claremont, and she like taught yoga, and like was just kind of like this hippie lady. Honestly, she was pretty hot. She was pretty hot.
So guys got game, man.
Apparently, but I think he was like, I think she has too active of a lifestyle where like my dad's not out here doing yoga, where like she wanted like yoga and like I don't know. So I don't know. I try not to like. My grandma, so my dad's mom, will tell me like, your dad should date, like your dad shouldn't be alone, da da da, and I'm just like, my dad is an adult ass man, and like I'm not gonna tell him what to do. It's honestly not my business. I do not care to know that much about his dating life. If he wants to date, he will date. Like
find somebody, it'll happen.
And meanwhile, it's like he has a ton of friends and family. He's really funny because he'll act like he's like antisocial and be like, yeah, like I have to go hang out with this person, or like I'd rather just stay home with the dogs. And then he has like all these friends and family. Like we always say he got my mom's family in the divorce. Like everyone just likes him. So
he's a fun guy.
Yeah, he's a fun dude. So that's the thing where it's like I don't think he feels the immense pressure to find a new partner like a lot of men do, because they've done research and they found that like the woman in the marriage is oftentimes the person who brings the social circle in. So the woman is the one with the friends, and like, so when a woman leaves or dies, the man is left without a lot of support. So that's why they try to find another woman very quickly. But like for my dad, he has all this support and all this like, you know, all these friends, family. So he doesn't really need someone to fill that void in a way. But yeah, no, that's real research.
Oh dang, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't know. I've always had my own friend group. You know, I've never really merged friend groups with anybody that I've dated.
Yeah.
And I don't really date a lot, dude. Like, I'm either the last 2 months or like
yeah. But you mentioned you have a girlfriend now, right?
Kind of. It's hard to say what we are.
No, you need to define it now on tape.
Hey, tell her, dude. I'm ready. I'm 35, homie. I don't like I said. I'm past the stage of where like I'm not afraid of. I won't say I was afraid of commitment, but I was kind of like chasing my own kind of goals and stuff. So,
Yeah.
So I was very avoidant too. I was like, well, if she hits me up, it's on her. You know?
Yeah.
But now
it just wasn't like a priority at all.
Yeah, but it's not even a priority either. But now it's more like I'm more open to it. And I'm like, I'll make time and I'll make effort now. Like, effort is kind of, I guess, the key word before.
It is like, because I appreciate like my alone time, my free time to do what I want to do. But it's like, you do have to make the effort and spend time with the person who you like, and you have to like make sacrifices. And that sounds like bad, like it's not.
It should be easy.
Yeah, it's not. I think the idea that it should be easy is like.
I think it should be easy to
unrealistic.
Talk to them and just be.
Yeah, I mean it's easy. Yeah, it's easy to be yourself around them, and it should be easy. You should enjoy spending time with them.
Yeah.
But I think like it is hard for a lot of people to, especially if you are used to being alone, and especially if you do have that independent streak or you are avoidant, it's like hard to then make room for someone else in your life.
Yeah.
Like even if you really like this person and you enjoy spending time with this person, it's kind of like, I don't know, if you ever feel like if you're at home and you're like, oh, like I don't want to go out, my friends invited me out, but I just want to stay here and like stay on my couch. But then you finally go out and you have a ton of fun and you're like glad you went out. It's just overcoming that independent, lazy part in you.
It's like going to the gym.
Exactly, yeah. You just got to do it. You just got to do it, and you're going to enjoy it. And
for me, a lot of the time, with her, I have to be the one that's like asking her to hang out, and have to be the one that's like, because she's busy. She's got custody of her sister's kids. So
okay. Oh,
yeah, she's got a lot going on in her life.
Yeah.
I feel like I bug her a lot. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Let's hang out. But I have to, or else we're not going to hang out. You know?
Yeah.
But and it's the first time I've actually ever really been this kind of like. I don't want to say needy, but I feel needy.
Yeah, then on that side where you're like the one who's asking to hang out more.
Yeah, I feel so needy, dude.
Yeah.
It's kind of, like I tell her, I'm like, dude, I feel like a chump a lot of the time.
Oh.
And she's just like, don't feel bad. Like I like that you asked me to hang out, but just.
Yeah. No, like that's if you have kids and like, that's understandable. I totally have so much respect for people who have kids or who are taking care of kids.
Yeah.
Because I get home from work and I'm exhausted. But I just get to like feed my dog and do what I want. I can relax, do nothing.
Yeah.
Where like when you have kids, you get home and you have another job to do. Like you're always on. Yeah. And again, I want kids, so I want that someday. But I'm trying to appreciate, meanwhile, that like my time is my own.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah, dude. Like I have so much free time, so for me, it's kind of like, all right, I'll ask, I'll make the effort. Like, and I like her a lot, so like it's one of the few times where I'm like, oh, actually. A lot of the time I have my foot out the door, you know?
Yeah.
This time I'm kind of like, no.
Yeah. See, that's good. That's good. Because, I'm the same way where it's like having one foot out the door at all times.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good sign if like your both feet are firmly inside the doorway.
Yeah. I mean, the door will open sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
You'll peek in and be like, hey.
Yeah, when we have an argument, I'm just like, okay.
You peek out the door a little bit.
Yeah, but I'm not, I'm pretty committed.
Yeah.
Like, I saw her too, like, dude, like, she doesn't, she also doesn't kind of, she's like, dude, why? Why? Like, I don't know what it is. It's one of those things where you just meet somebody and you're like, okay, I like this person.
Yeah.
There's a weird, probably we're both fucked up in the ways that we need each other.
Yeah.
To be fucked up.
You're like fucked up in like a coordinating way. Yeah.
We're both definitely crazy.
I think, well, that's another thing is like a therapist is that every single person is like, even the people who seem incredibly normal are fucked up in their own way that you might not be aware about.
Oh, okay.
And like some people are much more fucked up than other people. Some people have a lot more to deal with than other people, either biologically, like they're schizophrenic, or they've dealt with all this trauma.
Yeah.
But even like the person who's had like the best life, somehow no trauma, are gonna have some kind of personality flaw.
Yeah.
And like that's what I learned. Like, and sometimes doing therapy, I'll have somebody cruise through who's actually like in my eyes doing really well, and I'm like, you should be doing therapy for me because like you have it together.
Yeah.
But they still feel that kind of nagging sense of anxiety that there's something wrong with them or that they are doing something wrong. So yeah, just nobody's perfect.
Oh yeah, no, but okay, what makes you crazy? What's your crazy? You can avoid it?
Yeah, that's part of it for sure.
Yeah.
Clinically, I deal with depression,
really?
generalized anxiety, and ADHD. So that's like my actual like crazy brain.
Oh, okay.
Anxiety was my first like really big one. Like in high school, I was intense about school. My anxiety was super, super bad.
Were you always like, I gotta get into a good school, I gotta be the best at school?
Yeah, like that perfectionism, but then also with generalized anxiety, anxiety is a human emotion. It's normal to feel anxious, but with generalized anxiety disorder, it's basically anxiety that's about a lot of different things that's difficult to manage and gets in the way of your life.
Oh, okay.
And so in high school, I would get so anxious that people I love were going to get hurt. I would get anxious that if I left my house, there would be some kind of shooting or something.
Oh,
like, I was just anxious about everything.
Yeah, like the worst thing's gonna happen.
Yeah, just the worst case scenario.
That's how I am. I mean, I have a little bit of OCD. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I have to. Like the reason I kind of started doing stand-up was because I would, when COVID hit, I got really kind of paranoid, and I was like, if I don't write a joke every night, someone I love is gonna die.
Yeah, that's very OCD.
Yeah.
Damn. Usually when people say I'm a little bit OCD, they're like, oh, I need like my picture frames to be straight. And it's like, no, that's not OCD.
Yeah.
But thinking you have to write a joke so someone doesn't die,
To not die.
that's OCD.
Okay, yeah. I was like, that's not normal, man. But yeah, dude, it was. It got bad. But yeah, I know. I got my crazy too.
Yeah, and I will say that's something like I'm back in therapy now, as of a couple weeks ago. And it's really funny, like my therapist is actually very cool. Gay dude, I think he's in Northern California. We do like the video therapy.
Oh, okay. You did through, what's it called?
It's it's through Path or something. I don't know.
Okay.
My health insurance did it.
Yeah.
But he'll say like, it's cool doing therapy with a therapist because you have a lot of insight. And I'm like, yes, I'm very aware of all my issues. I know how to talk about them.
Yeah.
I've learned like it's very useful to have someone else to bounce those ideas off of. Because he'll say stuff that I know as a therapist.
Yeah.
But like having someone else say it makes it make more sense in a way. I don't know. But definitely it's like, I just, I've struggled with this stuff, but I stay on top of it, and I've been working on writing jokes about it. My fear when like writing jokes about depression or something is like, have you ever watched Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Oh, of course, yeah.
You know that episode when Dee becomes like a stand-up, and she's just like depressed and shitty on stage, and her friends like make up a whole, pretend people like her.
Oh yeah.
Just that image of her being, the image of her being all depressed on stage and being like, I hate myself, and everyone laughing. Like, that's what I'm so afraid of looking like when I do jokes about depression.
Yeah, I mean, they're funny.
Yeah, no, it's true, but it's like.
I forgot, somebody had a really good set the other day. I think it was talking about choking to death. I forget who it was. Somebody was talking about choking to death, but he was being super vulnerable. But it made it really funny because he was like, I was by myself. Like, I was like, I'm alone and I'm choking to death.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it made it extra funny. But it was, I think it's a vulnerability too.
Yeah, I was really proud of the set I did, and I think you might have left before, which how dare you? But it was a couple weeks ago. And I went, it was at the W.
Oh, okay.
And I went like third to last. So it was like almost 11 at night at this point.
Yeah.
And I had gone with no sleep. I literally did not sleep the night before because of anxiety.
I think I left right as you were doing it.
Yeah.
Too,
and I sat down, and I never sit down doing stand-up because it's called stand-up, not sit down. But I was fucking tired. And I just talked about like my mental health recently and just like, some struggles I've been having, and then like treatment I've been doing. And so that was very vulnerable. And I was very proud of it because it got actually really good laughs, parts of it. and it felt like a good balance of like being vulnerable, but not just being like a fucking bummer on stage.
Right? Yeah.
Like, and I think that's really an important balance to strike, where it's like there's so many comedy specials now where you watch it and you're like, is this even comedy? Like, this made me feel worse.
Yeah, this is a TED Talk.
Yeah, so it's like, I want to joke about this part of my life, but I want to make sure it's also funny, which I think you can make everything funny if you just figure it out. Like, figure out how to.
I agree. Whenever something bad happens, I'm like, okay, I gotta write a joke.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and I think that's why comedy has been really helpful for me too. It's like now when like I do have a shitty day at work or something, I'm like, this will be really funny at some point.
Yeah.
Like, I can write a joke about this. I can talk about this.
Yeah, like my car got stolen last summer.
Oh no.
Yeah. Well, they stole my gym bag. They stole my gym bag. So they stole like my keys and my license.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, and it was just a bunch of stuff just was going wrong at that point. But I was just like, all right, well, you gotta say there's open pics. I can come up with a joke.
Yeah.
Because the cop was super buff, so I said he looked like a stripper.
One of those stripper cops you'd see at like a bachelorette party.
Yeah, he was too buff to be a cop. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, cops are supposed to be like out of shape and like.
Like they ate donuts, but this cop was more like a stripper than a cop.
That's funny.
But yeah,
I mean, again, it sucks, but it's funny.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, all right, well, this made me feel. It actually did make me feel better.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been talking more than drawing, but it's coming along. Dude.
Okay. I trust you.
It's not even. Like, this is...
Honestly, I told my dad about this, and he brought up that I had my picture drawn. Me and my brother had our picture drawn by like a caricature artist when we went to SeaWorld when we were kids. And so my dad still has this picture on his wall, and it's me and my brother. I'm like 7 years old, and my teeth are in a stage where like they're falling out, growing in, and they just look insane. And the caricature artist decided to fucking seize that and make that the point of his caricature. And it's so mean to clown on a 7-year-old like that. And I'm like, so I encourage you to, the imperfections, just smooth them over, draw a beautiful girl.
I told James Jablonski, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna make you 10% more handsome. But it's coming.
Yeah, I think about that with like the olden days when royals and stuff used to get like paintings done. Where like I see some paintings of old royals and they look awful. Like it's probably very realistic, but if I were them, I'd be like, make that less realistic.
Right?
Like you don't need to show my Habsburg jaw to everyone. No one needs to know how inbred I am.
Right? Freaking. Yeah, that's why Spaniards have lisps, right? Because
somebody had a lisp and then...
Because of all the inbred, they had like a droopy lip. So like, you can see it and it just became like the popular thing to do.
That's funny.
Like royals, so everyone started talking with the lisp.
Yeah. No, I love the Spanish lisp. I think it's really funny.
Yeah, me too.
And again, I shouldn't make fun of it, but it's just like having like, it's like if English, like if in England they had our same language, but just said it with a lisp, it would be really funny. Like...
Well, yeah, dude. Like, as a Mexican, like they look at us as like second-class citizens, So like, making fun of them, I'm like, I'll make fun of them.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
We're bastard love child. They never say it.
Yeah, well, that's why I feel always confident in making fun of the English, because the English were so shitty. Because I'm like Irish and Scottish, and they were so shitty and continue to be shitty to the Irish and the Scottish. Where I'm like, I'm ready to clown on the English at any point, like. For anything. Right. Watching all the shit go down with their royals, like, I'm like, I hate all of you, so this is hilarious.
Yeah, God save the Queen, she got,
Yeah. Oh, when the Queen died, like, the people, some of the Irish people, like, just the tweets on Irish Twitter were lit. It was very funny.
Twitter, like there's
I mean, it's just normal Twitter, but it's like, with the Irish people, like, it's like, on Twitter, there's, like, different spheres of Twitter.
Yeah. Well, I've heard of Black Twitter.
Exactly. Same idea.
Okay. So in Irish Twitter, they're blowing up the Queen.
They were.
All right, I think.